Hi guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Gordon.
And I'm Alice.
Today we're going to talk about some must-do things while visiting New Hampshire. We had the opportunity to spend some time with family on Squam Lake, and then we got to spend some time with some really good friends, both from New Hampshire and from when we spent time in Montana.
Right. Jim and Sherry.
Jim and Sherry. After spending time with friends and family, we decided to kind of go back in time a little bit and go to some of our favorite places that we wanted to share with you. So if you stick around to the very end, we're going to give you some tips on where to find moose in the entire state. We lived here for 13 years, so we kind of have a good idea of where the best place to find moose is.
Maybe.
And we promise we'll share that with you.
So we are going to start in Franconia Notch. We spent a lot of time in Franconia Notch over the years that we spent here. So in the Notch you get to see the Flume Gorge, which is a 2-mile hike, round trip. It's a big loop that you go, and it has many stairs, some hills, up and down hills. So make sure that you're able to do stairs in order to do this hike. They do charge a fee to go into the flume. I think it was $18 a person, and you can do it all online through your reservation.gov to get those tickets. We had a great time going through there yet again. So just a little bit of personal history. We went there on our honeymoon 32 years ago.
It's like the day right after we got married. It's one of the places we went and had a nice hike. It's a great hike. I'd say easy to moderate at most. Yeah. Some really great views in there and some cool things to see. The gorge itself, the temperature in there is a little bit cooler than like when you leave the parking lot. So if it's coolish outside, you're going to want to bring a lightweight jacket with you and probably some bug spray for sure. Yeah. Because most of the walk is shaded under a canopy of trees. The next thing to do in Franconia Notch is go to the Old Man of the Mountain Memorial area.
Yes.
Now, if you're not familiar with Old Man of the Mountain, the Old Man of the Mountain was the side profile. When you were at the right angle that you get side profile, it looked just like a man's face. So if you have seen the New Hampshire quarter, it has the profile of the old man. If you see the New Hampshire license plates, it has profile of the old man. And the old man was first discovered in 1805, and in 2003 it finally succumbed to nature and fell down.
For many, many, many years they actually had a group of people who would go up and add more cables, or really take care of this formation,
trying to anchor everything in place
to keep it as long as possible. But in 2003 it just couldn't hold on any longer. So
they have created this really cool memorial at the base of the mountain where the old man was, and with this memorial you'll be able to see kind of what it used to look like when you could look up at the mountain and see the old man's face. And a local artist had built some spires, I'll call them, with some stuff on the side of it, so it positions, when you position just right as you're looking, you can see the outline of the Old Man of the Mountain. Now on the ground they have stones and they have height measurements, so depending on what height you are is where you kind of want to stand in front of one of these things to get the proper view. And
they went from 3.5 feet for the children all the way up to 6 feet, and if you're a little taller than 6 feet you can just squat down a little bit and get yourself all lined up for it. It was really cool. Now they did this memorial after we had left in 2009, so it was really great to actually see something that we had never seen before in New Hampshire, so that was really great.
So a really cool place in New Hampshire that everybody pretty much knows about is Mount Washington. Mount Washington is the tallest mountain peak east of the Mississippi River, and there's a couple of different ways that you can get to the top. You can hike, have fun with that. You can ride a vehicle, like your own vehicle. You can take up your own truck, motorcycle, car,
ATVs,
they're starting to allow some side-by-sides to go up now. There's also shuttle vans that you can pay a fee for, and they'll do the driving for you. That way you get to watch. And then on the opposite side of Mount Washington, in Bretton Woods, is the COG Railway. Really cool and very unique.
So we lived here for 13 years while we raised our children, and never did we ever go up to Mount Washington on the COG Railroad. So that was my #1 thing that I wanted to do, and we are very happy to be able to share that with you. And we have all the kind of information there that Gordon will share while we were at the railroad station there.
That's how this thing travels up the hill and is able to go a grade of 25% to 37.41% uphill. Is this cog runs in a track. So the motor powers the cog and it just walks its way right up the hill. Now going up the mountain, it only travels at 2.8 miles per hour, and when it comes down the mountain, its average descent speed is like 4.6 miles per hour. So it's pretty effective. Now, the COG has been in operation since July 3rd, 1869 is when it was first opened to the public. So this is what's called a slide board. The workers would use these to come down the mountain. Now the mountain is 3 miles, or the rail is a 3-mile length. The record speed coming down the mountain was 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So think about that. That's faster than 60 miles per hour on this little wooden shingle that has just a little cog in front of it. So they called this slide board, picked up the nickname of the Devil's Shingle. I can understand that. We want to talk a little bit about going up the COG.
Yeah.
The views are just amazing.
Yes. We did happen to have a good day, not the best day, but a good day of weather where we were able to have some beautiful views before we got to the top of the mountain. Of course, once you get to the top of the mountain, you never know what you're going to get. Even if it's a clear day, you never know what you're going to get.
And that's something that you definitely need to keep in mind about Mount Washington, is that as you're actually, when you start at the base and work your way to the top, you go through, I think it was 3 different weather formations, or...
Yes, I think that's what they called them, formations.
So the temperature difference from the base to the top can be 30 to 50 degrees different. So you're definitely going to want to bring a jacket. And
it's just mostly windy.
Right.
It's usually windy up there. So, and
the day we went, there was probably a 30 or 40 mile an hour wind.
Yep.
So be prepared for that, and be prepared for some amazing views that may come and go.
Yeah.
You'll see that here we are at the top, getting some beautiful footage, and about 5 seconds into it, here comes the cloud blowing
complete
through.
whiteout. Can't see a thing. You'd think you were in California with all that fog.
Right. While you're right there at the COG, just a couple miles down the road is the Mount Washington Hotel.
Back in its prime day, when it was used as the, well, it's still a hotel, but it had 57 trains that would come in and out of there, dropping off passengers per day. I mean, that's a lot of people and a lot of trains that used to go through there. It's still a hotel today. I don't believe that you can actually like just go and take a tour of the hotel. I did look up the cost. It's like $200 a night if you'd like to stay at the hotel. It's definitely a historic site, and it's beautiful just from the road if that's all you get to do.
If you haven't yet, don't forget to hit the like button and maybe ring the bell. Subscribe if you're not subscribed yet.
That way you can be notified every time that we put out new content, so you can stay up to date on where we are and what we're doing.
Where's the best place to find moose in New Hampshire?
Yeah.
So what you're going to want to do is you're going to have to go north.
Go north.
You have to go to the North Country of New Hampshire. It is just beautiful. There's a couple of different roads. My personal recommendation is that you go up through Berlin, on to Errol, and then to Colebrook, and make your way all the way up to the Canada border.
Yes.
The 13-mile woods is there.
Yeah, that is between Berlin and Errol, and you'll find a lot of little muddy bogs. Nothing that you would want to walk in, but the moose love them.
If you're looking out the road as you travel, you'll see just a big old mud hole, in essence, and you'll see the hoof prints in the mud. That's a good indication that you're in the right area. Now, primarily the best time to see moose are either early in the morning or late in the evening just before sunset.
Yes.
Now, Alice and I saw our moose this time kind of mid-morning. It was probably about 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But we felt very fortunate to find a moose.
Right. So a little bit of history while you're going through Berlin itself. You will be following the river there, and you will see big rock formations down the middle of the river. Those rock formations used to be used like a highway for the logs when they had two different major companies who worked out of the paper mill there and who would transport logs down that river. And so one company would go on one side of the formations and one company would have the other side. And of course, private people were able to use that also when it wasn't in use by those large companies. So do a little bit of research. The stories are great, but that's just like a little quick information about what those formations in the middle of the river used to be used for. Of course, they're not used for that anymore because the trucks came in and it was more economical to transport all of those logs to the paper factory by trucks.
Correct. And the river she's speaking of is the Androscoggin River. For finding moose, the big tip is...
Okay, ready? Are you ready for the tip?
Watch what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
I mean, as you're driving down the road, obviously look on both sides, but keep a good eye on what's going on ahead of you, because if you see a vehicle stopped off to the side and people standing there, it's a good chance they're looking at a moose.
That's where you're going to want to stop. And even if you don't want to stop, please be courteous enough to slow down, move over, and that way everybody stays safe while they're out there watching the moose. The other thing that you need to remember about moose is you need to keep your distance. Make sure you stay far enough away from them that if for some reason they're having a bad day and they decide to charge, you can get back into your vehicle and stay safe.
Right. While you're in the North Country, you need to check out all the lakes. If you like to kayak, canoe, paddleboard, anything like that, you're definitely in the right area to do it, because there are so many lakes and ponds that are really neat to go to. And some of those are well off the road. I'm going to say the name of the one that Alice and I went to. It's one we used to go to forever. We thought it was a secret spot, which back then it was, but not anymore.
It was pretty busy.
East Inlet Pond. Now that is a wonderful pond. You got to go a few miles down a dirt road to get to it, but we've seen many moose on that pond back in the day when we used to kayak around the pond.
Yeah. Now when I say it was busy, there was probably what, 6 to 8 cars there.
Right.
But the parking area is not big enough for any more than those 6 to 8 cars. And so that's a busy day.
When we took our trip to the North Country this time to relive our past, we brought our brand new inflatable paddle boards with us. And boy, let me tell you, it's a workout to pump them up. It doesn't take long, it's not real hard, but for a guy who hasn't spent much time in a gym lately, it's a workout.
And when we're racing.
Right? So we decided to race. I'm going to put some of that video in here for you because it's pretty fun.
Oh my gosh, we laughed so hard.
All just before getting on the board and paddle in the pond.
And that's when you're going to want to jump in the water because you're hot and sweaty.
Right? Look for moose on your way up to a pond or a lake. Paddle for a couple hours and then look for moose on your way back to your campsite. So we're in Maine now, getting ready to explore Acadia National Park. So if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you check out this playlist of our time at Glacier National Park in Montana last year.